Hello everybody, my name is Michael, and in today's video what we're going to be doing is this right here. So if that looks interesting to you guys, please carry on and watch the video. And also one more thing before we get into the video, if you enjoy what I do here, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. It really helps me out and lets me know you enjoy the video. But with all that out of the way, let's get into that video. Okay, so to start off with our Asian dragon here, I wasn't sure what color to do. I had a look online at some artwork, and there's so many different colors and varieties of Asian style dragons with awesome unique styles. So I ended up by coming up with a color scheme, and then later on I realized it very closely resembles the dragon Mushu from Mulan. Unintentionally, I didn't realize till about halfway through the paint job. I'm like, oh, this paint job seems very familiar. I wonder why. And yeah, I found out that I subconsciously had been picking colors to make it look like Mushu the dragon from Mulan. So that was interesting and fun. But what I've done here is I'm going with a red dragon. It's also Chinese zodiac. This year is the year of the dragon, and I thought that was a great time to paint up this model that I have sitting here, this inspired dragon by Asian mythology. So I thought, why not paint it up for the New Year's celebration for them, and gives me a reason to paint it up as well. It gives me a good time to put it out the model. Interesting thing to do. And as you can see, I'm just going over all of the scales. I want to make this dragon base tone of completely red. So spending the time here with its nice swirling and long lengthy body, going over and giving a full coat to the entire thing. So now we have that entire base coat down of the scales and our base color. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to come in with some rhinox hide here. This is a very dark brown, and I'm going to use this to paint in the horns slash antlers our dragon has here. As well as that, I'm also going to be painting the end of its tail in that same way. I want to give it sort of the same style of look, make it look like a horned tail on the end, as well as the big antler horns it has here, going with a very similar thing. So giving it an all over base coat with the rhinox hide. Then now, once we have that complete, what I'm going to do is come in with some desert yellow. This is just a off yellow color, sort of a mustardy yellow color. I'm going to be using this for the underbelly. Like I said, I wasn't sure what color I was going to paint this dragon up. I was sort of painting it as I was going, looking at some reference. There were some awesome green dragons, there were gold dragons that I'd seen online. I was really struggling to come up with a color scheme, and I was just sort of picking it up as I was going. So, and I ended up by picking up dark yellow here, or this mustard yellow for the underbelly color. So you can totally mix and match with a whole bunch of different styles and colors, especially the Asian inspired dragons. They have some awesome color combinations, and I ended up by choosing with a sort of plain simple yellow underbelly here. So I'm just going through making sure that I get all the underbelly pieces. You can see on this model a little bit tricky since it's long and it's curling around this rock, but trust me, it's definitely worth it to get into all those areas and switching to a longer brush as I needed to reach those tight to reach places. Then now we have that underbelly complete. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to come in with some squid pink in this here. It's going to be for the inside of the mouth. I didn't want to go with sort of a red or a burgundy color. I thought they were going to be too similar. I wanted the mouth and the face to stick out a lot more as well. So I want to go with a nice bright color for that. And so I went with bright squid pink, very, very bright color, and giving that overall. Now, of course, this is a pink color, so quite thin, and it needed quite a few coats to cover this, but I think the effect came out nice, and it gives a nice vibrant focal point to look at on the miniature once it's all complete. Then once I had that complete, what I'm going to do is come in with a wash. Now I chose a red wash here, just to mute down. Basically I wanted it to fall into the cracks of all the scales and just deepen that in there just a little bit, give it a little bit more definition. I wasn't so much worried for darkening everything down. If I had done that, I probably would have gone with a black. I just wanted to enhance the shadowed areas, basically applying like a filter over it to just get in those shadows without having to paint each one individually. So that's why I went with the red wash here. Okay, so now what we're going to do after we've gotten that wash all completely dry is I'm going to be using dragon red here, and this is to pick out the scales. And yes, I'm going to be doing the tedious process of basically picking out every single scale, at least all the ones that are in the natural light anyway. I'm going to be going around picking them out, giving them all each a little highlight, and this is going to really add to the effect. Really time consuming. You may not want to do this if you're doing something similar to this, but I wanted to add in that little bit more vibrancy and give it a little bit more of a nice effect. So I'm just gonna speed up this footage so you can see how long this can take me to pick out all of the miniature. So now that we have all of his facial hair picked out, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come in with some dark tone. This here is a black wash, and all I'm going to use it for is to just dull everything down, giving the black wash. Now this is of course going to stain it and change the color a lot. Don't worry about that too much, we'll be fixing it up in later steps, but I just wanted to really darken it down. Now you could totally thin out your wash a little bit more, or even go with a slightly browner wash if you want to intend to give it a slightly different tone. I just wanted to sort of mute everything down. I sort of went a little bit too much on the wash. I think I could have thinned it down with a little bit of water or medium just to thin it down just a little bit, maybe a little bit too strong, but I ended up by liking the end result, so it's not too bad. And of course we just want to give it all a nice good overall coat, and making sure we don't get it to pull or run off any areas that we don't want it to, so keep an eye on it as it's going to dry. So now we have that wash dry, what I'm going to do now is come in and highlight it back up. Now this here is going to be using deck tan just once again, and just coming in and picking out all of the high points. Now this model has actually nicely sculpted the mane slash facial hair of our dragon here really well. It's got these nice high ridges and areas where you can see where the highlight should naturally be placed. So all I'm going to do is go around and pick all of them out. Again, another long tedious process, but it is going to really enhance the overall look of our hair on our dragon here. Okay, so since we gave the entire body of our dragon an entire coating of red wash, it went all over the underbelly of the dragon. Now this was sort of intentional. I did apply it all over here as well, so I got a nice even coat all over the entirety of the miniature. So what I'm going to do now is come in with our original color here, which was our desert yellow, and I'm going to come in and just stipple underneath the underbelly, focusing on each one of these like nicely sculpted ridges underneath the belly here. And I'm just going to be picking out a part of each one of them, going through, sort of stippling it in, giving it a nice bit of texture, and this is going to really help bring the dragon's underbelly to life. Okay, so now we have that dragon's underbelly complete. What I'm going to do now is come back into the horns of our dragon. So this time here, I'm coming in with a lighter brown. This here is mahogany brown. Totally up to you what you want to do. You might want to go with more of a white horn, or maybe you want to go with some metallic style horns and antlers on this miniature. I'm going for sort of a generic sort of stag looking, at least trying to imitate the looks of sort of like a stag's antlers. So I'm coming in with a lighter brown here and just picking out sort of the tips and the top sort of like thirds of each one of these nice spikes on the horns. As well as that too, I'm also going to be doing it on the tail as well, so don't forget that if you want to copy along with what I'm doing here. So then once I did that, I realized I had accidentally not recorded a section, and that was to do the tips again in a even lighter color. And as you can see here, I'm painting the teeth while doing this, and you can see a good shot of the areas of the tips I also missed. So this here is done with skeleton bone. I'm going in and picking out all of the teeth. Now you could use the same sort of bone color for the edge of the horns as well. I ended up by doing a khaki color, which is very, very similar to the skeleton bone color here I'm using for the teeth. So if you wanted to do that, as well as that, I also did it along the tail of our miniature as well and picked out those spots as well. But going in and painting up his teeth, giving him a nice good old smile, it's really coming together now. Okay, so the areas on the horns of the antlers and the tail are really sort of basically finished now, so I want to add a wash to these. The reason why I'm going to add a wash to these is they're very strong in color, and I wanted them to blend together a little bit more. I'm not so great at doing that, and so the cheap way to make everything blend together and dull it down a little bit is to apply a wash over top, and it'll help hide some of that brightness of the horns there, dull it down, give it some interesting looks and texture, and blend a few of those colors together. Now I went with a brown here for this to tie in with the colors I've already applied over our horns and antlers. As well as that too, I'm also going to be doing a quick pass over the teeth, giving him some nasty sort of looking teeth and making them look like they're worn and used. So just a matter of going in and applying to the wash and making sure that it doesn't accidentally run down and hit anywhere we don't want it to. So now we have our tail and our antlers all painted up. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to come in with another lot of highlights, and this is going to be for the ridges along the back of our dragon. As well as that too, he also has these nice sculpted in whiskers, and I'm going to be doing them in the highlighted color, so a nice vibrant blue here. I'm using crystal blue for this, but any nice vibrant blue will do, or any color you want to do. I wanted to incorporate it with the spine along our dragon here, so that's why I'm going in with the blue, but I wanted to use it as a highlight color so it really sticks out. But as well as that, I'm also going to go through and pick out just the very tips of each one of the ridges along the dragon for where the sun would sort of hit the top of them and give a nice little effect. And it's just going around and picking out all of them. Another long tedious process. This paint job took a lot longer than I thought, because there was a lot of time consuming parts on the model, but I think the effect is really going to come out in the end. Then once we have that complete, there's just one more piece I want to do, and that is the eyes. And I'm going in with some nice vibrant bright yellow eyes for this and giving it a good overall coverage here. Now I'm not going to be showing you me putting in the pupil, because I had a big problem trying to keep this in camera as well as the focus, and it took me an embarrassing long amount of time to make it look semi-decent. I still don't think I got them completely correct, but they look good enough that I can show you guys in the glamour shots that are coming up, so you can see how this dragon has awesome facial expression on it and really does lend it well with the sculpt. When you paint it in the nice vibrant colors, it's really eye-catching piece. So let's go to those glamour shots and see how it came out with after spending way too long on doing these eyes. And with all that complete, we have finally finished painting up our dragon here to celebrate the Chinese zodiac of the new year, which is the year of the dragon. So I hope this video has been helpful for you guys, whether you want to follow along with what I did here, or you just want to use this video as some inspiration in painting up your own miniatures. And with all that said, guys, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I can't wait to see you all in the next video.